Impodsible podcast, episode 15 with Aaron Ross.
Yep. A bunch of calls today. So I talked to some CEOs of actually companies in the Nordics, some investors, and also a CE executive who's going to be a COO of a $100 million company in the States. And it's just interesting too, no matter how experienced you are, when you're doing something new, all that same imposter syndrome that comes up, or kind of the uncertainty, and is this going to work, and all the typical like human emotions and fears. And just because you're more experienced doesn't mean you're not affected by different types of questions. I wouldn't know if I'd say self-doubts, because there's a difference between feeling imposter syndrome and uncertain and doubting yourself. You can be confident and believe in yourself. I know I can believe in myself and be confident and still wonder and still be like, is this gonna work? I don't know. Okay. And then like moment by moment, rotate around these different emotions. Like either sometimes a little swirl quickly around, or sometimes it's a slower wave from getting into this, like you said, a wave that kind of takes me to uncertainty. Like, where's this going? Like, no, I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going to work. I think everyone's got some version of that, but it's easy, I think, if you're younger, 20s, I'm just going to pick some ages, 20s, think, someone who's uber successful, right? They've been CEO of this, that, or the other, or executives in a big company, like they got it figured out, or they're like confident they know it, and not realize like, they know a lot more, and especially through experience, but everyone has some version of the same thing around this, like, fears, uncertainty, doubt, confidence, happiness, like the roller coaster of life is still with them. And this desire, everyone has this desire to have some sort of like foreseen future, predictable revenue, because they want a safe place. And I just don't know that it's the case anymore. It seems less so. Maybe it was always the case. It's always been some sort of illusion. Like then COVID happens, or there's like some financial shock, but it's like a lot of, as a human, we want to find some safe place, things to hang on to that we know, okay, this is solid. It might be my relationship. It might be my, my talent. It might be my forecast. It might be this, but some kind of life preserver to hold on to. Gives us some feeling of stability, or some illusion of permanence. And every day we're walking to some new, like a new world every day. Like every day is like could be new world. And to me, last thing is like, to me, there's this thing around, especially for executives, where it's just more obvious for executives is, we have to let go more and more of, okay, this is how we've done it, right? You might have done 20 years in a SaaS company or marketing way, and you've learned things in the past, but it doesn't mean you can copy paste to the next thing. You have to be prepared, be like, okay, whatever I did before, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I'm just going to go in, open eyes, open mind, open heart, see what's there, and like do my best. And I might have to create some things on the fly. I will have to create something new or adapt, but just copying and pasting isn't going to work, and that's okay. Like, I think that's something having kids, and at least for me now, after so many years of especially kids in entrepreneurship, like I don't need to have the answer. Like I know I'll find, once I step into it, I'll find an answer, whatever that is, whether it's kids or business.
Speaking of kids, the younger generations, because we're YouTube people or watchers or creators, every big YouTube creator or anyone that goes viral on the internet does a swarm of content. Yes, there's the viral one-off hits that make someone famous, but look at your favorite musical artists, and they're uploading a song just about every other day. And of course, they have more hits. So love that. Aaron, you just got back. I didn't let you answer that. You just got back from Amsterdam. We're out here by some nice sports cars. Were there any sports cars in Amsterdam, or was it sports cars?
Lots of bikes. There's lots of bikes. I mean, there's some nice cars. Yeah. That was something, as a teenager, I was like, it's like sports cars are super cool. And
Yeah.
but now at some point I just like, who gives a fuck? Like, it'd be fun. I'd rather actually, one of the most fun things I did was doing a sport. It's called dream racing in Las Vegas. It's basically a race where I on the track and there's like an instructor. It was so well done. It was super fun. And like, would I love to drive one around town? Probably. I feel like I'd want to own one. Can you imagine 100 years ago or 200, if you brought someone today and you walked them into a house and you're like, here's who you turn the water tap on. And this is a toilet. And there's, there's a button and you push the button, lights come on. They would have been like, heads. So having grown up in California, which is great for us, but now living in Europe, at least it's my wife and I just like, yeah. So we're still super excited. Someday that we'll get used to it, probably. But yeah, it's exciting to be able to do that. But I would say it took around 10 years, let's call it 8 to 10, because we first wanted to do this around 10 years ago. And what stopped us at the time and was, we have 2 kids from my wife's first marriage, and their bio father legally could stop us from moving out of Los Angeles. And so I had to wait until they were older and they could basically do what they wanted before that we could move to Europe. Things worked out for the best that way. I think that would have been too early anyway. So I think that, as a side note, I don't know about you, like a lot of times there's things like I feel or just like kind of write or feel or like in my destiny, and I don't always understand them. And I just like, I know this is going to happen in some way, shape, or form. The shape form will probably surprise me, and the timing, I have no idea, but I just know something will happen in my future.
If everyone can hear me finally, any business people specifically or companies? Come on, give us some nuggets.
No, okay, well, this is the fun thing, in Amsterdam. And then on LinkedIn, I just put a little post, hey, I'm in Amsterdam for the day at the flower show. Is anyone, here to meet up? And I had one person comment. He's an investor who, cool guy. He said, yeah, there's a guy here to meet. And he's CEO of a company called Crunchers, and Dirk. And so we had coffee next morning, and a super cool guy. And whether there's some business there together or not, like, okay, maybe actually there might be, but that wasn't the point. Like, he just getting a coffee with someone in a new city and made a good conversation. Just really enjoyed that. It was neat. It was just like a serendipitous thing. It's the only person who commented, and it worked out. So that's one advantage of the internet. There are many, but there are also many annoyances of the interweb.
How's writing? We didn't hear from you last week. You were in Amsterdam, so I'm just catching up on what people I'm sure are wondering. How's the writing sessions and that going?
There are no writing sessions. What are these writing sessions? I'm not writing right now. Actually, seriously, I'm not writing right now, and I don't have any plans of writing. I'm like, yeah, there'll probably be another book at some point, but I have no interest in writing, no desire to write. I have a desire to create content, but not to write now. And that's hence like kind of videos, audios in the newsletter. And the newsletter tends to be an audio or video that gets transcribed when we edit with someone, because that's kind of fits my flow these days. I would say that just as much or more of an interest in writing is, okay, there's coming a book around whatever. I'm not even sure where this is. I kind of know what the book would be about, I think, but the shape of it will, I don't know. There's many things where I feel like a book would be in my future, not strongly, but yeah, but what it looks like and what it's about will probably surprise me, and when will probably surprise me. Don't know. The separate thing that I actually have a lot of desire for is to do these little storybooks with my kids. That's actually been a lot more fun, where we kind of draw pictures, make a love story, and it's so easy to upload it to some bookmaking site and just order a book, and like, it's so cute. So cute. That's a lot more of an interest in writing and drawing for me right now.
You're gonna Maverick's gonna win the Caldecott. What's that children's book award? That's actually really cool. They had the photo album books that you could easily make into a hardcover, and so it's cool that it almost reminds me of a children's coloring pad where you buy a pad and then they get to color in the blanks. It's like the 2022 version.
Yeah, Well, I say actually, there's an important point here, which is at least when I'm talking to executives, especially like even on today, there's a CEO of a public company in Europe, and so again, this is kind of like when I talk to executives and saying like, I don't know when, but for sure, executives are going to have to create more content about themselves, whether it's online publicly or within the company. Like that's a fact. I know that's true. It's not common now because for them it's like, oh man, more work. Like, ugh, what would I say? How do I break through the noise? Posting all this stuff is such a pain in the butt. Yes, but that's not. I'm not talking about that. Everyone has these assumptions they jump to, or not everyone, but like people jump to these assumptions on like what they think content creation should look like. They're like, that's not what it has to look like. That's not the way to go, right? So it has to be founder led, which means, what do you want to talk about? What do you, that's not, you have to ignore the market at first. Like, what do you want to talk about? Like, what kind of like rhythm and system looks and feels right for you, whether it's like video or audio or writing or interviews are a simple way to do it. But it has to be something that feels downhill for you. So that, because it feels like it's uphill, like pushing a boulder uphill, you're not going to do it. Like you already have a day job. And it's not about what the market wants right now. It's like, you got to start with what you want to broadcast. Yeah, Jake, I see your hand up here. What do you want?
What about the word fun? Yes, downhill.
The thing is maybe enjoyable. Alignment. I think it's more about, does it feel in alignment, which can feel like fun, but doesn't have to be. So I think if fun fit and that kind of works for you, great, amazing. But anything that feels good, it might be fun, might be enjoyment, might just be fit. So that'd be one word, but not the word. Because also people, it's really easy to go into the space of like, oh, it's not fun, it's not good enough, I don't want to do it. Yeah. So I think it's one of other possible words. So alignment. So you really find a flow that feels in alignment with where you are, who you are. Again, for me, writing does not feel like an alignment for me right now. That could change, but kind of being interviewed does, little videos, audios, that does. I didn't really do anything last week. I had other stuff I was dealing with. And this idea, like you always have to do it all every day. There's a lot of these little preconceptions we have to let go of to be founder driven content. Oh, I gotta get my 5-year-old at school. You're right.